Well, I want to welcome everybody to our little Zoom call today. Really exciting stuff. Um, where we have Brent Kessler with us. He is the founder of the Money Multiplier. The whole process that many of you I've been talking to regarding infinite banking. Well, I learned it from this guy right here. Really amazing. He has an inspiring story, and we get an opportunity to really learn from him today, and then also wanted to make this an open chat. So there is a chat window here. So throughout the next hour, there'll be times where we can chat in, ask questions. We want to open it up for all of you as you have questions for us. And it's great to see so many friendly faces hopping on. And yeah, why don't we get rocking and rolling as we get to the top? We're a little bit after the top of the hour, and I want to respect everybody's time, especially it's Friday. It's a summer weekend. This is the last July weekend we have of the summer. And I can't believe we're here already in August. That's really pretty remarkable. And why don't we rock and roll? Sound good, Brent?
I'm ready, man. I'm ready.
All right. Well, listen, like I said, I want to welcome everybody. This is an interview with myself and Brent Kessler. He is the founder of the Money Multiplier method. All the things that we're talking about, infinite banking. I had the pleasure of meeting Brent probably sometime last year as I was introduced to infinite banking from a really good close friend of mine that has been doing this for 12 years now. And he actually told me about this years ago. And, like many of you probably have looked into this at times or heard about it. I didn't really feel like I had anywhere to go. I kind of looked into it. I got confused. I decided not to move forward with anything. And then he said, no, let me put you in touch with this guy, Brent Kessler. And the one thing that really struck me straight away, and I put this on a couple of emails that I sent out to all of you, is that Brent was not a financial planner. Now, listen, I don't have anything against financial planners. I have many friends that are financial planners, but I'm just a business person and I speak my own language. I think I speak very plain. I speak in business, and I know when I've sat in the office of a financial planner and talked to them about these are my goals, these are my outcomes, they start shooting things at me. I have no idea what they're talking about in terms. And in fact, a lot of times I'd walk out of that office, and I've shared this with you, Brent, where I've kind of felt pretty stupid about money. I felt like, boy, I don't really have any ability to manage my own money. I don't know what they're talking about. I have to pay them a fee to manage this and all this. And a lot of times it just left me with kind of like a bad taste in my mouth. Like I really didn't have control of my own financial destiny. So when I speak to Brent's not a financial planner. In fact, he put this all together with no financial training at all. He was an entrepreneur just like me, and this is how he got started. And I like to start with you, Brent, because I like to start, if you can share with us how you actually got started in this. And now, how many years has it been since you've actually launched the Money Multiplier? I know you have 3,200. We have 3,200 clients now, happy clients throughout the U.S. and Canada that you always talk about. And you don't have 3,200 happy clients if you're not doing something right. So can you share a little bit about, take us back to how this all even got started with you, and why you decided to move forward and put something together that was easy for all of us to follow?
Yeah, no, actually, absolutely, absolutely. And yeah, just the one correction, 3,700
Oh,
plus
sorry.
clients now. But hey, who's counting?
Who's counting?
Tomato, tomato, potato, potato, a half a dozen or six. It's all the same, right? But yeah, so that is a cool thing. And so the reason it is cool, because we do have over 3,700 clients in every single state of the country. And the thing I say to people all the time is, the thing I love most about my job, right? Because I eat, live, and breathe this banking concept like every day of my life. But the thing I love most about my job is nobody is ever mad at me, right? Because people don't get mad at you when you're helping them keep, create, and build wealth. And if I do have someone that's mad at me, they're keeping it a secret. They haven't told me about it yet, right? So, but it is just absolutely incredibly cool. And that's what I love about this, because the thing that we are doing, John, is we are teaching people how to break the bonds of financial slavery they don't even realize they're in, and start taking control of their own money. Because the concepts that are taught in this method is not what we've been taught about money. It's not what our parents taught us. our grandparents, our friends, our colleagues, and our coworkers. So this is outside of the box thinking. This is not what we've been normally taught about money. And that's why normally anytime I do a presentation, whether it's a live presentation, a virtual presentation, a Zoom, I always start with this video. It's called the backward bicycle. And if you go to YouTube and if you click into YouTube and just like enter in the backward bicycle, and actually there's going to be about a 7.5-minute video that pops up. And that's how I usually start all of my presentations with, like if I'm going to present on this method, because the backward bicycle will kind of get your mind right. I mean, it kind of makes you do a paradigm shift about what may actually be true and what's not true and stuff. And that's so so anyway, that happens a lot with wealth and money. The things that we've been taught are not actually the truth about money. But now let's get into answering your question. Well, how did I really get into this, and why am I teaching this, and where did it all start? Well, as John said, I am not a planner. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not a financial planner. I'm not a CFP. I'm not a, CPA. I'm not an EIEIO, whatever letters that you want to put behind me. I am not. I am a chiropractor. All right. So I guess I am a DC, a doctor of chiropractic. But however, you're thinking, well, what the hell does chiropractic have anything to do with money and knowing anything to do with money and finances? Well, anyway, I was a chiropractor, and back in 2000, well, again, I still am a chiropractor. I just don't practice anymore. I haven't practiced myself in a clinic since like 2008 or 2009. I own 5 clinics in the Kansas City area. I sold the last one in 2017. And now I just teach this concept that we're talking about here today. But how did I first find out about it? How did I first see it? Well, I was actually at a chiropractic conference back in 2006. And anyway, I was at a conference, and it was a conference for chiropractors, right? And there was a speaker that came up, and he started talking about wealth and money and how to keep your money, how to recycle, recapture money, how to pay off debt, how to pay off expenses, how to recapture, recycle money, all without working harder, all without changing your cash flow, all without taking any additional risk or losing control, simply by adding one step in your financial life. So I was in this room, I was in a chair, and I heard everything that he was saying. I listened to all this stuff that he was saying, and I'm like, man, that looks really, really good. I mean, that is really cool. However, it just doesn't seem right. It seems like it's too good to be true. There has to be a catch. There has to be something that he's not telling me. So after his deal was over, I had just gone on my normal life. I kind of forgot about him talking about it, because I thought to myself, all right, there's got to be more to this. I'm busy. I really don't want to spend time trying to learn more about it. So I went back to my normal chiropractic life. I got on the plane. I flew home from that convention that I was at. And that was in 2006. And about almost 2 years later, about a year and a half, almost 2 years later, I go back to another chiropractic convention. And it just so happens about 8 or 10 of my colleagues are now at this new convention with me that were also at the previous convention 2 years earlier. And anyway, these guys were coming up to me, and they were just ranting and raving and going on and on. They were throwing up all over me about this banking concept, about how they were able to build and create wealth, all with just adding one simple step to their financial life. They never had to work harder, change their cash flow, take any additional risk, or lose control. They just added one simple step in their financial life. And I thought to myself, there has to be something to this. I kind of forgot that I even heard about it, but then I was kind of reminded, because see, the only difference between me and them was they heard the information and they took action. Yeah, they probably did some research. Well, yeah, I mean, I know they did some research, and they checked it out and said, all right, well, anyway, so they started it. Well, the difference between them and me is they started to implement the information that they heard, where I didn't, right? So these guys were going on and on about how great this was. So I thought to myself, there has to be something to it, right? There's no way that 8 or 10 of my closest colleagues are lying to me. Maybe 1 or 2, but not 8 or 10. So I went home and I told my wife, and at this time it was February of 2008. So a little over 13 and a half years ago. And I went home and I told my wife, I said, honey, I said, we have to start implementing this in our life. And so at that time, February of 2008, I was actually $984,711 in debt. How do I know? Because I had to add up all my debts at that time. In order to start this concept, they wanted to know, okay, what amount of money do you owe to other people, right? So it was $984,711. Now, I know what a lot of you guys are thinking. You're probably thinking, almost $1 million. How in the hell does a guy from Kansas get to be almost $1 million in debt? Now, I know if you live somewhere nice, like in Southern California, that buys you a very small house. But in Kansas, it buys you a lot. Well, how was I almost $1 million in debt? Well, I had my student loans from chiropractic school. I had my chiropractic clinic. I had the house that I lived in that I owed money on. I also had my house in the Lake of the Ozarks, which I still have, which is where I'm coming to from you today. I'm talking to you today from the Lake of the Ozarks. And obviously, if I have a lake house, guess what I have to have? A boat and a wave runner, right? I mean, you can't have a boat and a wave runner or a lake house without a boat and a wave runner, right? I'm also an airplane pilot. So as an airplane pilot, I had to have my own airplane. So it did not take me a lot to become almost $1 million in debt. Well, I took this concept that I learned and I put it in place, and I was able to pay that debt off in 39 months. 3 years, 3 months. I never had to work harder. I never had to change my cash flow, take any additional risk, or lose control. All I did was I added one simple step in my financial life. That's it. You see, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that the thing that, okay, everybody on this call today, everybody that's like hearing this message, I'm not telling you that you have to go out and change what you're currently doing. No, you don't. Continue to do what you're doing, but just add one simple step in your financial life. And when you do that, it will drastically change your financial life forever. Because now what we're going to do is now anytime we go out and buy anything, anytime we go out and buy a product or a service, you see, the thing that you have to do is anytime that if you go out and buy something, no matter if it's a car, a house, a boat, it could be a big screen TV, a piano, it could be, right? It could be a bottle of water. It could be a cell phone. It could be a computer. It could be a book, right? So no matter what you buy, the thing that you have to do is you have to take your money and you have to give it to whoever you're buying that product or service from. Now that money is in your hands, isn't it? What the thing you got to do is you got to give that money to someone else, and in exchange, they're going to give you the product or service that you just bought. So they have the money and you have the product and service. The transaction is over. Everybody walks away home happy, right? Well, by adding this one simple step in your financial life, not only are you going to give them the money for the product and service that you're buying, they're going to give you the product and service, but now there's a way that you can get all of that money back. So not only do you buy what you're buying, but you're going to get all the money back. So not only do you have the product that you're buying or the service that you buy, you're now recycling and recapturing that money. That money is never leaving your family. You're keeping that money inside of the family. And the concept that we use to do this, it's not brand new. It's not on trial. It's not being tested. No, it's been around for over 200 years. 200 plus years is what the wealthy have been, is just how long the wealthy have been using this concept. So the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds, the Morgans, the Stanleys, the Barclays, go look up the super wealthy and see what they're doing with their money. Go read a book by Robert Kiyosaki called Second Chance. This concept is in that book called Second Chance. Go out and read a book by Tony Robbins called Money, Master the Game. I can't remember. It's either in chapter 5.2
5.2.
5.4 of that book. I can't remember which. Do you know, John?
Yeah, it's 5.2.
5.2 of that book. This is exactly what Tony Robbins talks about. But see, a lot of you guys on this call, you've read that book. and you read through it and you went right past it and you didn't even know what in the hell it meant, right? Or maybe you did and you're like, oh, okay, well, I know what it means, but I don't know how to implement it. That is exactly what we teach. So it's not new, it's not on trial, it's not being tested. It's not like, let's see how this works. And then if it works, we'll tell other people about it. No, man, it's been around for over 200 years, but nobody's telling us about it, right? Because again, I want you to think about it. How many wealthy people do you know that are telling you, that are sitting down and talking to you about how they are building, keeping, and creating wealth? They're usually not doing it because a lot of times you're too damn difficult to talk to because you want the conventional model. You want to do what everybody else is doing. And they don't want to take the time to give you the paradigm shift that it's going to take to understand this concept. So that's what we teach.